Hey Salut Friends, today we are taking a look at a Russian tea from the house of Masque Milano. This was composed by Julien Rasquinet and released in 2014, which obviously means it is in its 10th year, which is quite an achievement considering the state of perfumery at the moment, where we are bombarded by new releases all the time. Masque Milano is a brand that I respect, don't enjoy all their creations, but they are quality. In addition to this, I also own a full bottle of Latessa, as well as Tango, Lost Allies and Mandela in 10 ml, creatively directed by two people, Alessandro Brun, who unfortunately passed away last month, which was completely unexpected and came as a shock to the industry. He was also a part of academia, the sort of people I highly respect. In fact, he launched this brand with his student, Riccardo. Both come across like very passionate individuals, having spent a lot of time with Italian art, literature, music, and also got to know the perfume industry before starting the house. The fragrances are presented as acts and scenes of a play and made by different perfumers. Speaking of which, this was made by Julien Rasquinet, who was at IFF at the time, a well-regarded contemporary perfumer and one of the last apprentices of Pierre Bourdon. He spent a lot of time in Dubai, and with that he has become one of the most sought-after perfumers because of his expertise with doing bold, smoky, ambery scent profiles, which really seems to have come in handy here. Also with Frederic Maule's Moon, which happens to be one of my favorites. Additionally, he has done Royal Wood for Creed and some good ones from Naomi Goodsir. Although he can be heavy-handed at times when it comes to amber woods, it seems that because of his tendency to create this sort of bombastic perfumes, he was kind of pigeonholed into repeating the same style with many of his creations using captive molecules and such. But now that he has left IFF, it will be interesting to see what kind of scent profiles he explores next. Before getting into the smell, as you can see, I am running low on this bottle. Let's fix that. There you go, heavy quality presentation. Appreciate that. So what's going on here? When I first spray this, I get a fruity opening of raspberry with some herbal mint. There is some freshness, but it is not airy and has some density to it. There is some mentholated vibe and also this rosy quality. Not like the flower, but more like a fruity, herbal, geranium-like rosy vibe. Additionally, there's a spicy kick from the black pepper. It is also evident from the get-go that it is not going to be a fresh scent. Also not the most natural smelling opening in the world. In fact, the fragrance itself can come across synthetic, but nevertheless well done. Just after the initial fruity mint and slightly boozy opening, it immediately transitions to a mix of dark notes, being the leather, immortelle and black tea. This is supposed to capture the experience of the founders attending an afternoon Russian tea ceremony at a library with a view of a snow-covered Nevsky Prospect in St. Petersburg and enjoying the warmth. Though I have not gotten the opportunity to have such an authentic experience, I have attended similar events a couple of times in Austria and Istanbul. It is a very elaborate ceremony in fact. You order it, usually have someone bring out the famous samovar. The tea is poured in a cup and diluted with water and sweetened with sugar, honey or fruit preserve. In this fragrance, it is represented by raspberry. It is also accompanied by mint or some lime to add freshness, which is much needed because this kind of tea is pretty potent and has a strong flavor. It is borderline undrinkable without diluting or sweetening it. It is still so strong, and if you add too much late during the day, it is going to keep you up at night, which actually happened to me. The freshness transitions to this kind of black tea, which is characteristic of a Russian tea ceremony. It is very clever how it goes from this fresh, bright, uplifting opening to a dark scent profile rather fast. Rasquinet seems to be very good at doing this kind of conjunction of fresh, fruity and dark notes. You can see it with the Moon as well from Frederic Maule, where the scent goes from this fruity opening to a dark animalic wood and leather combo. Speaking of which, although this is a tea-scented fragrance, in the start of the dry down, leather is more prominent I feel. And no, it is not similar to the raspberry leather combo in Tuscan leather. It is an original accord. Reminds me of black crackled leather at some historic lounge with a big fireplace or some old leather boots nearby. Here it has been created by birchwood, which is a recurring theme in Russian leather or cuir de Russie style of fragrances. Though here it comes across like a modern take on that theme. It is pronounced but not animalic. It's supported by some incense, which brings some additional smoky qualities to the overall scent profile, also complementing the black tea in particular. Tea came to the Russian Empire in the 1600s from China and has since become part of the culture. You can see it referenced in lots of paintings, literature, and music. Here it is bitter, pungent, and smoky. Nothing like your fresh green tea that you find in scents like Montfresh, Yerba Fresca, or Elizabeth Arden. Much more rugged, even more so than 5 o'clock or gingembre or tea for two, which have kind of become the reference tea scents. With the leather, birch, and incense, it comes across like a release of smoke and vapor when the piping hot tea comes in contact with the fruit preserve. It is an imposing smell in the dry down. The fragrance is supposed to be a part of the Act 1 of 4 in the opera collection from the house, each of which is supposed to represent the progression of the event. Comes across aristocratic, high ceilings, gramophone music, well decorated marble buildings lit by orthodox oil lamps. Those kind of images are what I get from it. Coming back to the scent, there is also a big amber component here. Not your traditional vanillic, benzoin, labdanum amber, but more so woody ambers. Could be amber extreme as it is from IFF. It also brings in this non-abstract, modern, slightly metallic, woody aspect to this scent. Amber woods can be a turn off if not done properly or dosed correctly. Thankfully, it is not too much here. The other darker notes balance it out, but it is very obvious and, like I said, an overtly synthetic and well done fragrance. With time, the scent becomes rather dry, be it the leather, incense, and notably the tea. Almost like this bitter aftertaste that you get after drinking a strong one. It also manages to keep the green, vibrant qualities going through the mid. If there is one note that really works with themes where the perfume is supposed to imitate an infusion, like the tea here or in Goutal Sable, or the lavender, coffee, and licorice combo in Dior's Eau Noire, it is the everlasting flower or immortal. It also complements spices, incense, herbal, leathery scent profiles. It really helps to reinforce the black tea here with its herbaceous, slightly caramelized sweetness with some added hay, tobacco-like nuances. Earlier days, tea was also carried by animals, kept dry by campfires, so they naturally acquired some of that smoky, leathery, medicinal facets. Thankfully, the immortal here does not go fully in the curry direction, which I'm not into. Additionally, they also list magnolia, but I don't get much of it. If anything, tea itself has a floral quality, so it probably adds to that. I'm also getting hints of saffron, hay, violet, tobacco, and even a little vanilla, but they are all very minor hints. It does not change too much after the mid till the far dry down, and when you finally get there, the leathery, smoky tea with some immortal and the dry amber is how the scent closes out. The performance is pretty good, lasts for about 10 hours or so. Overall moderate production, I would say, which I prefer with this kind of scent profile, more so for fall and winter. Comes across dressy and formal to me. In fact, all their scents come across polished and made to fit a particular niche of well-dressed, lavish Europeans from high society, sipping champagne and going to the Teatro alla Scala vibe about them. There is some Middle Eastern air about it as well, but who cares, wear it if you like it. From personal experience, it reminds me of drinking Turkish tea during a camp in Istanbul, which also has a prominent chai culture, and of course, I can't help myself, reminds me of Indian Darjeeling tea as well. Unisex, I would say. It is pricey, so needs testing, but it's also available as testers and also at discounters for less. It is artistic, well made, constructed in this angular, striking fashion, has this sort of heightened, dramatic, enthralling quality about it, engages me throughout the wearing, feels upscale and ornate. Overall, I really like it, particularly for this grandiose take on the tea theme. One of the better tea scents in recent times, probably the best from Masque Milano, and also Rasquinet's standout work. So there you have it, my thoughts on Russian tea. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care and ciao.